The desert wind carried a tremor that felt older than any storm, a vibration born from a memory creation itself had tried to bury. You wouldn't expect the earth to remember terror, but it does. In the cracked silence of forgotten places, whispers still linger of a creature so unnatural, so violently opposed to the order of God, that no angel was permitted to confront it. No sword of fire touched it. No heavenly legion encircled it. There's only one being in all of Scripture who faced this abomination directly, and he did not send a messenger. He came himself. And the moment he did, the seas shook, the deep recoiled, and the ancient watchers recorded a line they never forgot. You broke the heads of Leviathan. No warning. No negotiation. The Creator rose, and the creature that should never have existed vanished beneath his hand. But what was this being? Why did its existence threaten the balance of creation? And why is its story woven like a shadow between the lines of Scripture, revealed only in pieces, as though humanity is permitted to see just enough to tremble, and not a word more? Before the world was shaped into the beauty we know, the deep churned with forces neither holy nor fully damned. Darkness was not merely an absence of light, it was a presence, a weight, a living current that resisted being divided. It was within this unformed chaos that something awakened, not crafted, not spoken into being, but stirred by the volatile clashing of elements that had not yet bowed to God's command. Leviathan was not part of creation. It was a distortion formed before boundaries existed. A creature of the deep that knew no order, no purpose, no obedience, an anomaly born from a world still learning to become. When God formed the seas and declared their limits, this being resisted. When he separated the waters above from the waters below, Leviathan thrashed against the rising structure of the cosmos. It was the embodiment of uncreation chaos given sinew, rebellion given muscle. Scripture describes its scales as shields, its breath as flame, its heart as stone. But these images, vivid as they are only metaphors pointing towards something deeper. Leviathan was the one thing in existence that refused and was incapable of submission. Not a fallen angel, not a beast, something else. In the early ages of the world, before humanity took its first steps, even the mighty angels looked upon this creature with unease. Not fear angels do not fear but recognition. They sensed that Leviathan's existence was wrong. It did not fit the pattern of God's perfect weaving. It moved counter to the divine rhythm. Where God brings creation, Leviathan brought distortion. Where God sets order, Leviathan stirred disorder. And so when God surveyed creation and declared it good, this was the one thing that could not remain. Yet God did not destroy it immediately. Not because he lacked power, he spoke galaxies into existence with a breath, but because the act itself would become a declaration written into the foundation of the universe. Chaos will not have the final word. Leviathan remained in the deep as a symbol of all that resists God's order, a reminder that the Creator alone determines what lives and what ends. Even Job, broken and confused, is asked, "Can you hook Leviathan? Can you command him?" The answer is obvious, only God can. But long before Job heard those words, long before Israel sang of God crushing the heads of the sea monster, Leviathan rose from the deep one final time. It surged with the tides of primordial waters, its presence twisting the currents, its form darkening the horizon. Even the stars dimmed as though creation itself held its breath. This creature born before boundaries now challenged the one who shaped those boundaries. It was not a battle. It was a confrontation between the unmaking and the maker. The heavens opened not with thunder, not with angelic armies, but with the stillness that arrives when God moves without announcement. The deep began to tremble, not from Leviathan's thrashing, but from the pressure of divine authority descending upon it. Leviathan lifted its many heads, eyes blazing with ancient defiance. No fear. It could not fear, for fear requires humility. And Leviathan had none. God entered the deep. There are moments in Scripture where God's presence manifests in ways creation can barely withstand, Mount Sinai quaking, nations trembling, winds obeying his voice. But none compare to the moment. He stepped into the waters to confront the creature that resisted his order since the dawn of time. Light did not break the sea. It filled it, saturating every movement with a brilliance no creature could withstand. Leviathan surged forward, the embodiment of rebellion crashing against the radiance of the Creator. But rebellion cannot overcome the one who shaped existence. There was no battle cry, no clash, no cosmic struggle. The moment God touched Leviathan, the deep roared and then fell silent. Psalms records it as though it were a simple act. You shattered the heads of Leviathan. Isaiah echoes it. The Lord will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent. He will slay the dragon of the sea. What Scripture states in brief, creation remembers in trembling. The creature that should never have existed was undone, not defeated, erased. And yet its memory lingers. In the ocean's darkest depths, currents shift as though remembering the shape of something long gone. In the thunder of storms, echoes whisper of the day chaos was silenced. Why does the Bible keep Leviathan's story scattered, like fragments of a shattered mirror? Because its purpose is not horror, it is revelation. Leviathan exists in Scripture as a reminder of what God Himself dealt with directly. A reminder that there are forces no angel engages because they belong to the realm of the Creator alone. For Job, Leviathan became a lesson in perspective. For Israel, it was a symbol of God's unmatched power. For the prophets, it was a sign of the final victory God would bring over all chaos. And for us, it is a whisper of divine authority that reaches far beyond what we see. When your life feels like the deep, chaotic, unsteady, unpredictable, the story of Leviathan reminds you that the God you call upon is the same God who silenced the oldest chaos in existence with a single act. Not by struggle, but by sovereignty. And perhaps the most humbling truth is this: Leviathan was not the enemy of man. It never knew us. It did not rise against humanity. Its rebellion was older, deeper, aimed at the very order of creation itself. And still, God chose to remove it not because it threatened us, but because it threatened the beauty He intended for the world He would give to us. Creation could not flourish while chaos lived in its depths. So God destroyed the one being He never created. This is why Leviathan's story matters. It is not the tale of a monster. It is the revelation of a God whose authority extends beyond creation, beyond time, beyond forces we cannot even imagine. The destruction of Leviathan is the declaration that nothing, no chaos, no darkness, no distortion will ever stand against the will of the Creator. It was true at the dawn of time. It will be true at the end of days. And somewhere, in the eternal memory of the universe, the deep remains quiet because it remembers the moment God Himself descended and unmade the unmaking.